The Hard Count is presented by BetMGM. As y'all know by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this college football season. We'll be using their lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for all of you each week. Now, when you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code HARDCOUNT, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. 1, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code HARDCOUNT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Step 3, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code HARDCOUNT when you sign up. Let's make this college football season 1 for the books. Let's make it legendary. Let's get to the show.
Welcome into the Hard Count, baby. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, last one on the face of the planet. It is just barely Tuesday, January 20th. We have on the clock right now as we're taping this the day of a smooth 3:46 a.m. Eastern time, dude. This is for the sickos, man. As always, presented by BetMGM. This is the college football show for college football fans that they need more, man. They're still hungry. J.D, the confetti just dropped in Miami. I want to know about 2026. I want to know who's taking home the crown next season. Give me the way too early rankings. Talk to me about what this means for the Hoosiers in Miami and all that, this, that, and the other. We appreciate you being about this life. Again, this is a show for college football sickos. If you're watching this right now, that's probably you because the season ended, quote unquote, for most people. They stopped playing football games. This show does not stop, man. And so we appreciate the heck out of y'all for making it what it is. Again, presented by BetMGM. I want to go all over the place today here, man, in terms of what we're touching. We're going to touch on what I just said, the way too early rankings. We'll talk about the season that was in terms of where we were right, where we were wrong. Heck, we'll get a little bit sappy at the end of this thing, man, as we are known to do on the very last show of the season that it is, and put a cap on that. But let's start with the champions, man. Let's start with Indiana. Hey, I got bad news. If you thought this was a flash in the pan, a good story, Indiana's not going anywhere. They're not. Final score in Hard Rock Stadium over the home team Canes. In the road uniforms, mind you, for the Canes. But still, final score 27-21. Cignetti and the boys just battling, finding a way to get it done. And I said this on the field post. I just want to make sure I reiterate this. There's so much credit given to Indiana, rightfully so, for the lack of mistakes they make. But in a backhanded way, it almost provides this idea that Indiana doesn't beat themselves and therefore they just allow you to make mistakes, which implies this idea that Indiana doesn't do anything to ultimately beat you. That was not the case. The blocked punt, the pick to seal the deal, Mendoza willing himself over the goal line, dude, giving a right kidney for the squad to go get a little baby Heisman pose at the end. This is a team now in Indiana that earned every single piece of this national title they won on Monday night. Make no mistake about that. But going back to my point here, if you don't believe in Indiana, you don't believe in Curt Cignetti after 2 years, and all he's done is go 27-2 as the head coach at IU, and only losses are to teams that have played for a national championship in Notre Dame and Ohio State last year, that's on you. The burden of proof is on you if you don't believe in Indiana under Curt Cignetti. He evals with the best of them. Elijah Surratt, D'Angelo Pons, Aiden Fisher, all cats from JMU. Fernando Mendoza made him a Heisman Trophy winner. Fernando Mendoza threw 16 touchdowns and 6 picks last year at Cal. The machine did not stop for you. I just want to let that sizzle for a second. Fernando Mendoza, while he was a guy with a ton of potential and had played some football, he wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner rolling over to Indiana that you were 100% sure was going to lead you to what you just got to last night. Make no mistake about that. So the way that he's able to evaluate and maximize his roster, that's a Cignetti thing. I know this roster is going to churn and change, but that's a Cignetti thing that I'm trusting will continue to be there. Why? Because it's been there here over the course of 2 years. Speaking to game planning now, the continuity he's had in his staff, having the same in OC and DC here for a second, I don't think we can point to a single game in 2 years at Indiana under Curt Cignetti where Indiana has been out game planned. Now, there's been games they've lost, but I think that first season when they lost Notre Dame and lost to Ohio State, I'd pin that more on personnel and that getting up to speed under Cignetti. I will be shocked if we watch a game here in the future with the Hoosiers, whether it be next season or years from now. As long as he's the head coach, I don't think they will ever walk into a game with the second best game plan. So that's another thing you got to try to prove me of. Like, he brainwashes this team, man. I keep leading up to this like punchline of he evals, he adds talent, he motivates. Like, he brainwashes and he wins. Full stop. To turn this team into a national championship outfit when he took over a place that reeked of mediocrity and losing and just being happy making a bowl game. Do you know the kind of brainwashing you have to do to a group of young adults to get them to buy into, hey, we can actually go achieve big time things here, wearing this uniform in this place of Bloomington? That to me is the most impressive part of this entire move by Curt Cignetti in the 2 years he's been there. But he's a winner, 27-2. I told you, 2 years in Indiana. Put him at 46-6 the last 4 years, adding in some of the JMU time there. Dude's a winner. So again, if you don't think that Indiana is for real, there's not staying power here. Oh, they just had Mendoza. Oh, those experienced guys from JMU, they're going to go on and do great things, and that's all well and good, and Indiana will regress. I don't believe that now. I don't believe that for a second, and you shouldn't either. So what I think is interesting to note here too is Indiana, what they've done these last couple of years under Cignetti, this was the dirty work. This is supposed to be the pushing the boulder up the hill phase. Hey, believe in IU, believe in the vision, believe in where this brand is going. I win, Google me, I got to reprogram the team, all those good stuff. Like the first 2 years, it's not supposed to happen like this. You're supposed to create belief and buy-in within your locker room, obviously, but also at a fan base level, at a booster and a pockets level, to then get the resources you need to go in a high level. Mark Cuban, you saw him on the sideline. He's probably given some to that roster, right? Yeah, 100%. I would estimate Fernando Mendoza was probably a north of $2 million price point to get him to Bloomington. Money well spent. But you don't think what Mark Cuban gave this past year is going to be any less after a national championship? I don't think so. That largest living alumni base, over 800,000 people, you think they're giving less after winning a national championship? No, that's absolutely not the case. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want some milk. If you give a school and a fan base and the largest living alumni, that's twice the size of the Bahamas now, a national championship, they're going to want more. So how do you get more? You give more. You give more, you have more firepower to go land a Josh Hoover, to go land a Nick Marsh, to go probably do better at the high school level as well if Curt Cignetti chooses he wants to go that route. This train has already got momentum now. The boulder is well over the hill. It's hurtling downhill now. Indiana's not going anywhere. You know how much hotter Indiana just got for potential prospects, whether it be the portal or at the high school level? Because what Curt Cignetti just did is, one, make himself famous, okay? Every single person in America now that even kind of loosely keeps up with college football knows who that dude is right now. Second part of this, he put out a billboard that if you come to Indiana, one, you're going to win. Okay, it's a huge part of having fun playing college football. Winning is fun. And two, probably most importantly for these cats, you're going to get developed. Go back to Mendoza. He wasn't Mendoza before he got to Indiana that we know now. Surratt, same deal. Was playing at JMU for Curt Cignetti, and now going to be an NFL draft pick. Like, you keep going down the line here. Curt Cignetti has developed these guys into winning football players, developed them to NFL draft prospects. Mendoza, for my money here, with no Dante Moore going pro, is going to be the number one player drafted. And Mark Davis and Tom Brady in the building tonight. He's probably going to be the top guy drafted. That's a billboard. You can go get developed and do whatever you want to do when you come to Indiana. So if you want to go get developed and achieve exciting things, Curt Cignetti now has that pitch, not in a like casting vision kind of sense of, hey, come here, eventually we'll do this. It's like, no, look at Fernando Mendoza, look at all these draft picks we have. For guys that play with me at JMU, I made them to NFL players. That can be you. It's a compelling pitch to have now. So we said this a couple times, but Curt Cignetti has shattered the glass ceiling as to how we put together rosters in college football. And I think there's a couple different ways to skin the cat. Do not get it twisted. I'm not saying that landing 5 stars isn't important, so don't hear me incorrectly. But what I am saying is Curt Cignetti has proven now there is another door to a national championship. And you kind of always thought this was something that would eventually be possible. We weren't sure when the transfer portal became a thing and people started taking high volume of transfers. But Curt Cignetti, doing it now with a bunch of transfers and 0 5-stars, has proven if you kill it on the eval front and you add the right guys and you have the right character and culture, you can do whatever you want. And I said this on the field, but I want to say it again. Roger Bannister, first man to run the 4-minute mile. Before that, now it's like, hey, if you run the 4-minute mile, if you go that fast in that that 4-lap sequence of a 400 meters, you're probably going to die. That was the thought. Hey, you cannot run a 4-minute mile. It's impossible to do that. Then Roger Bannister did it. Then everybody else started doing it. I think Curt Cignetti created a blueprint now where we see college football. It's a copycat sport from the schemes to the roster building. Curt Cignetti created a new blueprint to go win at the highest level. Go value production, go value experience, value maturity. You're going to have a chance to win some pretty exciting things, regardless of what those dudes were as high school prospects. Because Indiana understood when they walked in, they're not going to go out recruit Ohio State or Michigan or Oregon. So what do you have to do? You got to think outside the box and do it with conviction. And that's what Curt Cignetti just did, and that's why Indiana won a national championship, among other reasons. So there's a new blueprint to win a national championship, and I will be shocked if we don't see a number of different teams try and go the Cignetti route. All right, it's a narrow route to walk, but it's one that now has been proven can lead to ultimate national title kind of results. All right. Second thing here with Cignetti, he's ruined it for everyone. Like I'm feeling for Bobby Chesney right now, new head coach at UCLA, who was at JMU, where Curt Cignetti was previously. Bobby Chesney now is looking at the guy who coached at JMU before turn a place that was not really a football school in Indiana in 2 years' time into a national champion. Now UCLA has to support Bobby Chesney, and I'm using it as an example. The point being, you don't need to be patient with these coaches anymore. And I hate saying that out loud because that's kind of the inverse of what I believe to be true about college football until tonight, that is. There's going to be a much lesser amount of patience here for these guys when it comes to turning places around. Word of caution, what I just said, if you're going to have national title level expectations, you better be willing to have national title level of backing. Because again, Indiana, they have more resources now, I promise you. They had some resources to put together what they did for Curt Cignetti to go win at the level they've won at these last couple of years. So Curt Cignetti's changed college football, both for new coaches at their spots and how long they have to get going, I'd have to imagine, and also for how you build your roster. Because everyone's going to be saying now, why can't we do what Indiana did? Why can't we go hit the portal? Why can't we go bring over your players you won with at your previous school and go win at a high level? The plot thickens, but the plot is thickened because of what Indiana has done. And again, as long as Curt Cignetti's the head coach over there, they're not going anywhere. So get real used to seeing those blades and fists and the whole deal they were doing tonight in Hard Rock. I want to make sure I'm not getting too far away from the mic for those listening on podcast. Get real used to seeing Indiana as a football school now. They're not going anywhere. Make that very, very clear. Now, on the flip side of that game, you had Miami. In Miami, I don't want to make light of your situation because that sucked, dude. We were down on the field pregame. The stars were out. DJ Khaled's out there. Fat Joe's out there. Michael Irvin. Like, it was a who's who, bro, and it was electrifying. I've been privileged enough to cover 4 national title games for On3 and call it a job. Hilarious. That was the most electric pregame atmosphere for a national title game I have ever been a part of. Maybe some of it's the Indiana fan base being dialed in for their first ever national title game appearance. Maybe it's a home game for Miami. I don't know what it was, but it was electrifying. And it felt so cool to know that there was that amount of electricity at essentially a home game for the Miami Hurricanes and to have that fan base dialed in and activated. And so to lose in the fashion you did, driving, to have a Carson Beck interception be the deal for you after you kind of thought maybe you got rid of the turnover bug in some respects over the course of the latter third of your season, and to have it be Heartbreak Hotel that way, like, I feel for y'all, man, because this was a fan base that was believed, that was bought in, all these things. So I feel for Miami. At the same time, I do want to say this. This wasn't the last shot for Miami. Like, we're walking out of Hard Rock Stadium, man, myself and Caden Smith just putting in the work, trying to get these uploads up for y'all and the reactions up for y'all. And I'm coming off the field, going to meet Cato in the media workroom as my guy's just grinding away. A couple of Miami fans dap us up and say, hey, we love the show, appreciate you, really cool, always love those experiences, those interactions. But one of the Miami fans we talked to took us out and he says, hey, like, kind of lean in for the pregnant pause. He goes, we'll be back. And it wasn't a we'll be back like a trying to reassure himself they'd be back. It was like a no, I'm just letting you know Miami's not going anywhere. We're going to be back. And that's the thing with Miami. This wasn't like your one shot. This didn't have this is our one shot to go make it happen kind of feel to it. We had the stars aligned, we had the quarterback, we had the roster, and we didn't get it done. So who knows what the future holds? We missed it. I don't think that's the case, man. And I do understand, man, social media is social media, and it's toxic. So everyone's getting their jokes out now. Mario choked. Carson Beck said the sloth. They can't win the big game. They lost to Indiana basketball school. That's social media, but guess what? Social media is not real life. Social media is built to maximize a moment when it comes to humor and emotion and engagement, all those things. Social media, in 2 months' time, it's not going to matter what people posted about Mario Cristobal. What's going to matter is what's real about Miami football. And what I think is real about Miami football is what wins in modern college football. Because here's the thing. You keep telling me, you being the college football playoff, you keep telling me what wins at the highest level. What wins at the highest level, let's go through the checklist here. Physicality, line of scrimmage. In 2 years of the 12-team playoff, I think we've had the 4 toughest teams show up in the national title game between Ohio State, Notre Dame, Indiana, and Miami. Mario Cristobal is your head coach, dude. You're going to have big human beings. I'm on the sideline out there checking out Jackson Cantwell in street clothes, and I'm like, yeah, you can probably play a little bit. Early enrollee for you, going to be an absolute wagon on the offensive line, high-profile prospect for you. I think you're going to be okay on the offensive line as long as Mario Cristobal is your head coach, okay? So make that very clear. Don't see that being an issue. Quarterback, ideally with experience. Now, this is one that you're going to track a little bit if you're a Miami fan. At the time of us taping this, there is nothing concrete on Darian Mensah. All the tea leaves now are pointing to him eventually being a Miami Hurricane, is what we're all assuming if he ends up in the transfer portal. It looks like he will be a Miami Hurricane, is what all the intel is saying, okay? So the last couple of years, what have you had? A portal quarterback with experience in Cam Ward and Carson Beck that got you to a 10-win season that fit perfectly into Mario Cristobal's structure and became their best selves. Like, the blueprint is there for a portal experienced quarterback to show up and win right away. Win right away. I mean, now, if Miami does have to go the high school route, I think they're more than well-equipped to do that. But if you're telling me it's about having an experienced quarterback, I feel pretty good betting money that's going to be Miami more times than not when it comes to how they use the portal. Or if they do go with a high school quarterback, I think they'll be pretty talented based on their resources. Like you keep telling me, too, in modern college football, you got to have resources, JD. You got to be able to have a dollar amount that's going to attract the right kind of talent to go win it all. Okay, I don't think that's a problem for Miami. I don't think that's ever been a problem for Miami, quite frankly. Okay, check that box. Culture. Now, this is something that has been critiqued of Cristobal over his time in the 305 because it wasn't the hot start that I think most people were hoping for when he got that job. It was 5-7, it was 7-5. It was not taking a knee against Georgia Tech. It was a lot of growing pains. But that's the thing. Once you do things right, there's inevitably some uncomfortability with that. Like I know a lot of y'all, man. Shout out to y'all sticking with the New Year's resolution and saying, hey, I'm going to eat healthy and work out this year, JD. Oh, bro, we're here for y'all. Keep going, bro. Keep going. It's January 20th, and if you've stuck with it now, you started eating healthy. You started eating a little bit more of that spinach and that grilled chicken as opposed to some of that fast food. You probably hate how that feels for your body. You probably feel a little bit sick going through those changes. You're working out. You probably feel a little bit sore. But when you get to the other side of those growing pains, guess what? You get results. That's what Miami got. The last couple of years, 2 10-win seasons, the college football playoff berth, the college football playoff run to a national championship. I think that's a product of the cultural growing pains you went through under Cristobal. Because he gets that, dude. People joke about the game day stuff. Do what you want to do. Again, social media, get your clicks, get your views, brother. But like Cristobal has proven, he got a culture of toughness. You don't go on the run they win on unless you have that culture of toughness. Backdooring into the playoff, going and win a 1-score game at College Station. You go beat the odds-on favorite to win the national championship as a 10-point dog against Ohio State. Nobody thought that was happening. You're able to not have the letdown after an emotional win over A&M, and then you go beat Ole Miss. Like, I trust the culture in place from Mario Cristobal now here. And I think it's only going to keep on building because of the fact that this foundation seems to have been laid. And foundations, man, just by nature of building them now, it takes some time to get those set up. But I think that's in a good place now under Cristobal. So check that box. Now, things are going to change for Miami. Understand that. It is very likely now that as Miami has success and people see Miami have success, they're going to want to try to take a piece of it. So whether it's the roster or the staff, I don't know. But I'll just say this. As long as it's a Mario Cristobal managed situation, I will trust it. Because I trust personality. I trust toughness. I trust roster building. I trust all those things. So I know it hurts right now, but I'm just saying the things that last in college football, I still think Miami has those things, dude. Let it hurt. Lick your wounds. Take your vacation. Play Marvin's Room, all those things. But understand, when toe meets leather next year, Miami is not taking a backseat to anybody. And of course, we'll talk more about that as we get more of a pulse for what that roster is going to look like here as the portal does what the portal does here in the next foreseeable future. But that's my take on it when it comes to the sustainability of Miami. One more thing I want to say. We mentioned the crowd being dialed in, and we mentioned just the buzz around the city, quite frankly. Even being here a good ways from Hard Rock Stadium at our hotel in Miami, there's just a different buzz right now around the Canes. And you could call it belief, call it activation, call it whatever you want. That's where Miami is right now. And it's one of those things, too, where it's similar to USC in this way or any other major city. Like, if you're not winning, this fan base and these people living in these cities have other things to do, bro. I'm not going to a Miami Hurricane game if we're just flirting with the bowl game. I'm going to South Beach. I'm going and doing something cool in the water. I'm not going to a Miami football game. But if you win, much like at USC in Los Angeles, if you win and you can activate that city and activate those fans and activate, the excitement around the program, it's like gasoline, bro. It's like rocket, Coke and Mentos, man. Like, that thing is blowing up in a big way. It gets momentum in a hurry. Okay, so that's big for the fan base level because obviously having an exciting home atmosphere and having NIL activation even more than you already have right now, no way to call that a bad thing. But maybe even more so, like making the U cool again, making it visible again to the next generation of the transfer portal to see Miami now as being the U and not just being Miami. I think that's extremely important. Because we talk about being in the Sunshine State and all the high school talent there is there, man. Like, if you could be the team in the state and say, hey, we're this close, we're a score away in a national championship game. Are you kidding me? Come here, be the missing piece. Let's go win the whole darn thing, dude. I think that pitch with where Cristobal has pushed this place to is extremely attractive. Extremely attractive. So, last thing I'll say, too, is kind of a side note. Is there any natural, final boss in the ACC we got to worry about here for Miami? If this thing does stay at 12 and the ACC championship gets you into the playoff, I know Clemson was down bad this year and you hope they bounce back if you're a Clemson fan, but I don't see, and I know Miami hasn't won the ACC, I get all that, but I'm saying now, if I'm looking at the future of the path being through that conference, I'd feel pretty good about having another shot to go on a 3 to 4 game run here and find ourselves back playing for a national title. So Miami, it hurts. I know this sucks. I get it. I'm not trying to tell you to feel better about it, but I am saying now, if you think this was your one shot, I would disagree. I'll close with this. I think Miami's playing for a national title again under Cristobal within the next 3 years. Full stop. All right? So there you have it on the Canes, man. Good stuff across the board, man, in the 305. It was just fun to be there, too. The city was activated, man. It was palpable buzz across the board here. Now, here's a segment that is always dangerous to do, but we always do it on this show as the national title wraps up. We look ahead to 2026, and we got to give you our way too early top 10 rankings for next college football season. Now, we'll do a full top 25, I would imagine, here in the not-too-distant future. Maybe it's this week's show. Maybe it's next week. We'll kind of give the portal a chance to do what the portal does. I want to start with this disclaimer. This is going to change, this top 10, from now before the season starts. Also, this already has changed. Brett McMurphy hit us up last week and said, hey, give us your early top 25. Let's talk ball. Just have it be kind of fluid. It'll be a good time. We'll put it together for a story. It'll be awesome. Even since I sent him my top 10 then, it has changed. So if you want to go after us for these rankings, be my guest. Not predictive, but with that being said, we will get right to it. Before we do, if you're a college football sicko, you know what I'm saying now. Listen, I'll be honest with y'all, man. You're watching a video about the way too early rankings for next season. You're a sicko, and that's okay. We're college football sickos too. We put together a top 10 for next season, and we would do it even if they didn't pay us, but they do, which is hilarious. Neither here nor there. All right, we'll start at number 10. And number 10 for 2026 in our way too early rankings at the Oklahoma Sooners. Yo, what's not to like? But JD, John Mateer and the thumb. I know about John Mateer and the thumb. What was he when he was healthy, though? Arguably a Heisman Trophy contender. Some people had him as the Heisman Trophy favorite, arguably, rather, I should say. The defense isn't going anywhere. Brent Venables calling the show. I feel good about that. If you can get through the hazing of what that schedule was this year in the SEC, it was initiation, dude. It was cruel. It was cruel. It was unusual. And they made the college football playoff with a quarterback who had one hand and no run game behind him. Okay, I'll buy Oklahoma. Hopefully they can even beef up further on that offense side of the football, maybe even better in that sense and take some pressure off the defense. But I love a healthy John Mateer. I love a Brent Venables defense. I love that just tough to kill culture. I don't think it's going anywhere. Oklahoma, for me, right now, number 10 ahead of next season. Now at number 9, got Notre Dame. Now, some of my colleagues at On 3 had Notre Dame at number 1, and I love them for it. Got nothing bad to say about it. Now, I need to see a little bit more of what the rest of that offensive roster looks like. But here's my thing. I think that you look at what CJ Carr was last year. I think him being at Notre Dame and not being the reason they didn't make the college football playoff needs to be talked about. I think, honestly, you can talk about CJ Carr and Marcus Freeman as a combo now. Top 10 in college football? I'd argue top 5 based on proven production. So I got that going for us. And then I have the Marcus Freeman never say die culture. Now I know what people are saying. JD, they said no to the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's un-American. That's quitting. We don't like that. I hear you. I don't even disagree. In fact, it made me a little bit sick with Notre Dame not playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl, opting out. Hurt my feelings. Hated every single part of it. All right? But with that being said, I don't think the negative vibes from that and around Notre Dame to finish the season match the reality. Because the defense is always going to be good as long as Marcus Freeman is your head coach. Understand that. That's his baby. That's his side of the football. They're going to be all right. They've also gone to the portal and added not one, but 2 wide receivers of the 5-star variety from Ohio State in Quincy Porter and Mylan Graham. You only do that if you think you have a quarterback that is worth his salt to get them the football. You only go and soup up the car if you like the engine. That's what I think they're doing offensively. So I'd like to see, what the rest of that offense is going to look like here. And we're watching spring football and practice reports very, very closely. But as of right now, I like Notre Dame enough to put them in my top 10. Got them at 9. At number 8, I got Texas A&M. Now, y'all, we're going to beat our chest a little later in the show as to how we felt about A&M last season and or preseason rather relative to this season and where we were on the money there. I have zero reason to think they're going to regress in year 3 under Mike Elko. Culture's going to be great, I think. I trust Mike Elko to get the defense right. Mario Craver's back. Marcel Reed is a dude, and I think if he even takes a step forward, who knows what they are and what they would have been in this playoff run. There's not a lot to say about A&M. I don't think there's all that much of a mystery with them. And I know the logo scares people, and Texas 8-4, this, that, and the other. Y'all, it's not A&M anymore. It's not. I know it's fun to make jokes. I get it. I am all the way here for the pettiness of college football. But when you put the pettiness aside and look at what's actually been going on in College Station, it's substance. It's maximizing what they have on the roster. More on A&M later in the show, but I'm buying stock in the Aggies. Got them at 8 ahead of next season. If you think that's too low, more power to you. It's going to change later, but A&M at number 8 on these way too early rankings. Emphasis on the way too early. At number 7, I got Texas. Now, I am tempted to put Texas higher in these rankings. I got to see a little bit more proof of concept from Texas because the defense made me, with what they're losing, rather, I want to see how that defense shapes up. Will Muschamp calling the show, all the way here for that. Offensive line, going to keep a pulse on that. Obviously, it was, I think, a governor this year. But Arch Manning was not a governor this year. Arch Manning, towards the end of the season, was playing freaking awesome. Big reason why he won the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. So I look at Texas. I love the way the arrow is pointing up. I also just love the overall temperature on them coming into the year. Because you go get Cam Coleman, and you only go get Cam Coleman if you think that you got a chance to go do something special in 2026. And if Arch Manning is who you think he's going to be, if you're a Texas fan, going into year 2 as a starting quarterback, you think he's going to be the best in college football? Okay, more power to you. He's only the best in college football if you have an alpha dog wide receiver out wide, which now you have in Cam Coleman. So there's that, plus just the whole Sark, I think, tasting his own blood thing from last year. A lot of people picked them to be a team that would end up playing this national title game in the preseason. Didn't happen that way. I just think he's got the weapons he's used to having now, does Sark, calling the offense. I think that Tex will be on a mission, and they're definitely top 10 for me going into 2026. If you got them higher, more power to you, but I got them at 7 as of right now. At number 6, I didn't design it this way, but it's kind of how it shook out. The 3 Texas schools, all from 8 to 7 to 6. I got Texas Tech at 6, man. Now, full transparency. I don't want to do this for every single team and say, could I have them higher? I did have them higher prior to some of the potential portal moves and the Dante Moore of it all that happened. Texas Tech could very easily be what Indiana was this year. Full stop. Committed to the resources of it all. Cody Campbell writing checks, snapping necks, metaphorically speaking, I believe. Went out and got Brendan Sorsby. If Brendan Sorsby is who you think he could be, if you're a Texas Tech fan, adding some more just overall playmaker and take over the game kind of potential to you, I don't think that front 7 is going to regress. Even with what they lose, I don't think it's going to take a step back, especially in the Big 12. Now, I think they'll still be dominant, but I think they have a quarterback now to where if you find yourself on a field with Oregon next season, you feel a lot better about having a guy who can just go try to win the game for you and put the cape on. I love Baron Morton. That wasn't him. Not a knock on Baron Morton. It's just Brendan Sorsby, and God gave Brendan Sorsby some different things. So talk about the portal blueprint that Indiana developed. Texas Tech can follow that because they got the money to follow that, and I fully believe in their GM, James Blanchard, and I fully believe in their head coach, Joey McGuire. So Texas Tech, highest-ranked team in the state of Texas. For us on this show right now, on January 20th at whatever it is, 4:15 a.m. Eastern time, Texas Tech, number 6 in our rankings. And number 5, I got Miami. This is contingent upon them landing a dude at quarterback. So if they don't land a dude at quarterback, or the dude we think they're going to land at quarterback in Darian Mensah, we will revisit this. But what I just said, I trust the makings, I trust the ingredients, I trust Cristobal, I trust them to be the bully. Just played for a national championship with a quarterback that I was told for the better part of the last few months going into the season was used goods. Wasn't all that. Was a liability. Okay. Kid just played for a national championship. And I don't even know if that last interception was on him all the way. Different conversation for a different time. But Miami, they're not taking a step back. I think they're number 5 going into next season for my money. Number 4, I got Oregon. They're all in, bro. They give me a very similar vibe as to what Ohio State was in 2024 in terms of like unfinished business. We were on the doorstep. We didn't get it done. We got to go get it done this year. I think that's them. Don't think it's a stretch to say they probably got the best quarterback in college football in Dante Moore. Oregon just gets better every year under Dan Lanning. And again, I'm going to go back to the social media thing because at this point in the year, I think it's extremely fair to point to because we have all the data on the season that was. Everyone's pointing to Lanning can't win the big game, can't do this, can't do that. Say what you want. They've advanced further every year. From the Pac-12 title game to winning the Big Ten in the year after to making the playoff that year, rather, and then getting embarrassed in that first round of the playoff game, to winning 2 playoff games, to being a game away from playing for a national championship. I know it was embarrassing, but Lanning only loses to teams that play for national championships. The last 2 years, his only losses have been to teams that won national championships in Ohio State and Indiana. So Oregon at 4, I think they're all in, and I trust Dan Lanning. I trust that roster as long as Phil Knight is fitting the bill. And Marshall Malco, the GM out there, is helping assemble the talent. And number 3, could have him higher too. Not to be that guy, but could have him higher too. I got Indiana, man. No Fernando Mendoza. Yes, they're going to lose some key pieces from the national title team, so I do kind of want to see what it looks like. But like I said earlier in the show, man, the burden of proof is on you. If you're not believing the Cignetti way of doing things, all he does is win. Google him. Got a national title to his name right now, and Josh Hoover coming over from TCU to be your starting quarterback more than likely. He had more to get excited about than Fernando Mendoza from Cal. Like talking to Caden Smith today, we'll get his take on these rankings later on this week. He's like, bro, I might have Indiana number 1 if they win the whole thing tonight. And I don't think that's crazy at all, but I got them at 3 as of right now. Want to see how they go in year 3 now with maybe some of those older pieces moving on, but I mean, Indiana, their method is proven. And I don't think there's much to dispute there. Top 3 for me ahead of next season. Number 2, I got Georgia. Y'all, this wasn't supposed to be the year that Georgia won the SEC, just given all the youth they had, and they did. Again, another take by Cato. Picked them to win the SEC preseason. My guy hit it on the money, so make sure that's out there for the people to hear. first-year starting quarterback, and a bunch of first- and second-year players. We talked to Kirby at Media Days back in August, which feels like, years ago at this point in time. But talked to him going into the season in Atlanta and said, hey, what excites you about this team? He's like, they're young, they're eager. They're like this kind of like puppy dog of sorts is how he was describing them to us. This team that had a lot of energy and youth and they didn't know what they didn't know, and maybe sometimes they helped them, sometimes they hurt them, I don't know. But this will be a team now next season, a little more salty, a little bit more grizzled, walking into the playoff now, whatever seeding they have, where they, I think, will have a little bit more wherewithal about themselves and what it takes to go into the playoff. Long as it's Kirby, long as it's Gunnar Stockton pulling the trigger, man, I feel good about the Dogs. There's more there for me to trust as of right now from a roster level. So I'll have them at number 2 ahead of next year. Now, at number 1, man, I'm not letting Indiana, I'm not letting Miami turn me into Drew Barrymore from 50 First Dates, where I just forget everything that happened from the few weeks before, or the day before in terms of that movie. It's Ohio State. It's Ohio State. And listen, the Miami loss was unsettling because they bullied you, right? It was unsettling because you didn't have the urgency you were supposed to have walking into that game, having lost the Big Ten championship. But y'all, it's still Julian Sain. It's still Jeremiah Smith. It's still Bo Jackson. Heck, I've been critical of the guy, but it's still Matt Patricia calling the defense. All right, now we got to figure it out on the offensive side of the ball a little bit here in some of these games to maximize what we have as a unit to go beat Indiana and go beat Miami. But again, those two teams played for a national championship, so I think those losses have aged, if possible, in a somewhat appealing fashion. Ryan Day is still one of the best coaches in college football. You can have the Michigan conversation if you want to. You can harp on all the little things that Ohio State hasn't done well. Bottom line, it's really hard to win a national championship in college football. It's getting harder for the 12-team playoff, and Ryan Day has done that now over the course of his career and was in position now to be the favorite to get it done this past season. So I'm not overly concerned about how that postseason went. It sucks, not a good look. It's a bad symptom, but Ohio State, for my money here, still ahead of next year, the top dog heading into 2026. So before we go through these top 10, my thought process with this top 10, these are all teams that I could see winning a national title next year. I don't think that's crazy to say. At number 10, Oklahoma. Number 9, Notre Dame. The Texas schools, 8, 7, and 6, and A&M at 8. Texas at 6. Texas Tech, top of the Lone Star State right now. Number 6, Miami at 5, contingent upon getting a quarterback. I believe they will. Oregon at 4, Indiana at 3, Georgia at 2, and the Ohio State Buckeyes at number 1 are way too early. 2026, top 10 teams in college football. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right. I want to get to some right and wrong from this year and then talk about so much of what's going on in the college football playoff expansion before we round this thing out. Listen, we talk about it a lot on this show. We do our very best to be all the best abilities, rather. Flexibility, explosive ability is not really a word. We try to be explosive on the show in a positive sense. Accountability and availability are what we can do for you. Availability by shooting this show at just a ridiculous hour of the morning after the national championship was played. So that's the first part of this. But accountability is also something we want to do here. So with that being said, I want to talk about where we were wrong this year, but we're going to make sure we keep receipts as well and tell you where we were right this season. So let's start with where we were wrong. Y'all don't know if we were more wrong about anybody than the LSU Tigers this year. All right? It's tough, man. Sat there at that desk making our final predictions for the season that was going to be, and we said LSU national championship, book it. We saw the look in their eye at media days. I saw Brian Kelly call his shot. First thing he said when he sat down at the scrum, I was believing it. I think I told Cato moments into that presser, I think I'm picking LSU in the national championship. Experienced quarterback. Defense is going to fly around with Blake Baker. JD, but the offensive line's got problems. I'm not worried about the offensive line. Don't give me logic right now. It's August. Don't give me logic. I want LSU to win a national championship. Let's go ahead and book that. Didn't happen. We were wrong. Hand up, we were wrong. Taking accountability. So what did we learn? What you were wrong about only matters as much as you took a lesson from it, okay? I learned two things. One, fit matters with your head coach. especially at a place like LSU. Fit can be overrated in certain places. LSU is not one of those places. And it's not even the fact that Brian Kelly had the whole fake Southern accent when he started and all those things. Like, if he had won, he would have been a fit. But he wasn't a fit because he didn't win. Catch my drift here? Like, I think that teams take on persona of leadership. And the persona of LSU football was so far removed from what they are at their best. Swagger, confidence, violence, brash. Wasn't LSU? Now, there was flashes of that defensively. I saw Whit Weeks laying into people. But that wasn't LSU. They weren't running the football. They weren't arriving and striking fear in the hearts of the opposite. That wasn't LSU, man. And it deserves to be. I'm glad that LSU made a move to go do that. More on that in a second. But, like, fit matters at head coach. And so with that being the case now, we learned that the hard way when it came to Brian Kelly. You're like, JD, we tried to warn you. I know. I hear you. Some lessons you got to learn yourself. Second lesson we learned, I alluded to it a second ago, but I want to say it again. In the offseason, if there's trench questions on either side of the ball, don't try to explain those to yourself. Don't try and make sense of it when it comes to practice reports and things we're doing during fall camp. Like, it's all well and good. Take that data for sure, but like, don't pick someone to win a national championship when you got question marks on the offensive line. And y'all, to keep it a buck, we gave you spring intel and fall camp intel. And the intel around the offensive line was, if they can just be serviceable, stop right there. If we're talking about an offensive line being serviceable, they're not national title caliber. All right, Miami's offensive line, Indiana's offensive line, they were not serviceable. They were dominant. That's why they showed up in the national championship game. Okay? Understand that. So that's on us. Learned our lesson. Here we go. Now, for the future, I do want to make sure we say this about LSU. I think so much. I mean, now granted, it was ugly at times. It wasn't the smoothest breakup with how this whole thing went. There was some dirty laundry aired across the board. I get all that. But I just respect the move that LSU freaking cares enough to make a move. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't asking of Florida State for the better part of the last couple of months. I know that buyout hurt. I know it sucked. I know it was embarrassing. But it had to happen because it wasn't more embarrassing than the brand of football you had on the field. They cared too much to stay the same. Yeah, it hurt, but you had to make a move. I think back to my childhood. My family moved from one part of California to the other part of California because the high schools were not good where we were. Academics weren't good. Athletics weren't good. JD, we got to make a move. Why? Because we care too much about you. We care too much about your future. That's what LSU is doing, paying a $50+ million buyout with Brian Kelly. We care too much about this place to settle for what it is. So in that sense, man, like, hats off to LSU. I'm all the way here for that. The thing with LSU, though, at a place like that, in a brand like that, in a state like that, quite frankly, in the boot, shout out, it doesn't take a lot to reset. It doesn't. And you hired a guy in Lane Kiffin who's made a career off resetting. He got hired because he reset every single year at Ole Miss at a really high level to where he put him in the college football playoff this year. A roster that, say what you want about what they did on the sideline, that roster was Lane Kiffin's roster, and they were a game away from a national championship. So put that out there. So for us now on this side of things, with the work that Kiffin's doing in the portal, with the quarterback that he's landed, we were wrong. We were wrong last year. But we're not out on LSU. I'm not selling my stock. It's not a tear it down to the studs operation. It's okay. Get some offensive acumen here. Let's fix the offensive line, which they are working on doing via the portal from what I can gather, and the quarterback with some mobility here, which is a good deal. Some of it you just can't predict. I couldn't predict Garrett Nussmeier having the health that he had, but we should have known better on the fit with Kelly. Should have known better on the trenches, but I believe in LSU going forward. I believe in Lane Kiffin to reset that place, and I'm not calling my shot for national title right now. Still January, all right, understand that. But I think LSU is going to be a lot more similar to what we have expected of them, what we do expect of them, what they expect of themselves here going forward than what they were this past season. So we are wrong on LSU, but gosh dang it, circle the wagons, Tiger fans. It's a new day in 2026. Now, where we were right, y'all, a lot of people were scared of that Texas A&M logo. We were not one of them. Okay, and I'll tell you what, man, we would post different clips from the shows. We've been known to do now. Follow on social media, Instagram, Twitter, at JD PicKell. We'd post different clips saying, listen, man, I like Elko. I like the culture. I think he brings all the things that A&M's been missing here. Look at the schedule. It's not crazy. Look at Marcel Reed last year. I like what he brings to the table here. I like A&M. Matter of fact, I really like A&M. I put A&M in the college football playoff at 10-2. Now, it turns out we were a touch low on A&M because they went 11-1 and made the playoff, but neither here nor there. But all those clips we had out there speaking to A&M and speaking to what they were, we took bullet after bullet on the socials, bro. Same old Aggies, man. Aggies always do this. We told you, JD, you're going to fall victim to it again, man. Kept hearing that, fall victim to it again. I was like, I don't know if you're new to the show. And if you are, welcome, subscribe. No hate or shade either way, but you must not know our history with A&M. We were taking bullets the other way because we were saying, hey, listen, I like the roster, but I don't trust Jimbo. I don't trust the management here at A&M. And then A&M went and made the college football playoff. And again, we keep saying this. It's not about the logo. Indiana's won a national championship. Logos have never mattered less in college football. It's who do you have running your program and how much support do you have. A&M has all that. So, I mean, looking to the future here, I see no reason for A&M to regress in any way, shape, or form. Craver's back. Elko's back in a big way here. Got himself a nice little extension. I say little in the facetious sense. He got a big extension and deserves every single penny. Marcel Reed is back. Now, you got a new offensive coordinator, so we'll see how that whole thing translates. New DC as well, for the record there, but it's Elko's baby anyway. My point in all this is, I don't think that with what A&M was this past year, that there was any reason to believe they will be less of that in 2026. I don't think you become less of your head coach's personality after a successful year 2. I think you buy in even more in year 3. And a quarterback now with more reps under his belt, that was the magic sauce, right? In this national championship, had 2 quarterbacks that played a lot of football, and it was a big reason why they played in that game in general. So is that the Marcel Reed impact in 2026? I don't know, but I tell you what, I like that he's played more football, and I think that's going to bode well for them. So when we look to the future, man, I'll buy stock again. I'll buy stock again because I look at A&M, and quite frankly, as I'm watching this game tonight with Miami, I can't help but think about just comps. Like, that's kind of what we do in this industry as well. We are reminded of things we've seen and compare teams and whatnot. I think A&M in some ways might just be a version of SEC Miami. Built in the trenches, built on substance, at a place that's been known to be more flash than substance and had some management issues. I don't see that with A&M. I see them heading one direction. Shout out the band and shout out where A&M's headed. And I just think they have a little less portal quarterback appetite because of who they have at quarterback, so that they're unlike Miami in that way. But I'm buying all the stock in A&M again in 2026 as of right now. So we were right on A&M. Say it with our chest. Go and check receipts. No apologies. The logo never was a reason to be scared, and we weren't scared of it. A&M to the playoff last season. We're all the way about it. We'll not be shocked if we pick them again to be in the playoff in 2026. Where we were wrong, unfortunately. Y'all, I was wrong on Florida. JD, did you have Florida in the playoff? Do you have Florida in the national championship? No, I didn't. I was wrong because I thought Florida would be good. And they weren't. They were 4-8. I said, hey, tough schedule. I like Lagway. I like Napier. I think they'll be like an 8-9 win team. That's pretty solid and keep Napier around for another season. Wasn't the way it went, y'all. Was not the way it went. Now, Caden Smith shaking his head behind the camera. He was on this. So I want to make sure this is very clear. Of the 2 people involved in this show that make it go, we were 50% wrong, 100% wrong right here, but 50% wrong as a show. So in some subjects, that's passing. I just want to say that, take it pass fail. Neither here nor there. Lesson learned, be leery of the sugar high. Be leery of that, because what's what we got from Florida to finish the season? It was a sugar high. It was fun moments with Lagway and Napier beating LSU and Ole Miss and all that. And like it was fun, but guess what? It was a sugar high. And what comes up must come down. There wasn't enough of a sample size for us to believe they were going to be anything different than what they were the year before, which was a 7-win football team. And then to pile on there now, this is where Cato's got to get his flowers, man. If we had a 2-camera setup right now, he would do that and jump on the mic and wax poetic and beat his chest, and he will have a chance to do that. DJ Lagway missing spring ball. He said it all offseason. Bro, people are getting better, and he's not. People are getting reps, and he's not. And I was like, but Cato, like, he's talented, bro. Like, he's not going to be worse. Cato was like, I don't know. I don't like it. That was 100% the case. So Cato was on the money there. We were all the way off there. I fell in love with potential. I fell in love with the snapshots. And that's on me, Florida fans. That's on me. All right? What I will say is, I get excited about the future. Now, I'm going to guard my heart. I'm going to guard my heart. I'm not going to put myself out there and say Florida the playoff or anything like that, but I will just say now, with what they are under John Summerall, and what we can tell that they are so far on the very early returns, the 15 minutes he's been on the job, I think it'll be a lot of the inverse of what you had under Billy Napier. Like what you had in Billy Napier was talented roster, which is a great thing. You don't knock the guy for it. But again, Saturday decision-making and Saturday moments, Florida continued to fall short. That is not John Summerall. He's in your face. He's intense. He's win those competitive moments. He's strained. He's all those things. He's also now, I think, even a little bit more under the radar with how they build their roster. And that's not saying they won't still have a great roster, but I'm just saying, like, you're grabbing guys that have played for him, played for his assistants, played for his staff. It's guys that he knows. It's substance. So, again, just keep on giving Cato his carnations. Here's edible arrangements. He said this on the show, man, like, hey, JD, doesn't that kind of remind you of what's in Eddie with JMU? And I'm like, yeah, it kind of does, Cato. It kind of does. And guess what? That worked out okay for them. So does Florida win a national championship next year? Y'all, I don't know. I can't say that right now for you. I can't. But I don't think the schedule will be nearly as hard than what it was this past year in the preseason. So, I mean, check in the positive direction for the Gators in that box. And for everyone shouting, G5 coach, we've hired another G5 coach. What are we doing? Curt Cignetti coached G5 last year, won a national championship. Good night. All right. So let's all relax on that. I believe in the direction. I believe in the personality. I believe in the tweaks they're making. Say what you want about how it's a G5 coach. I just think that is a fool's errand to be caught up in that. So you're building the foundation, and you're going to win the little things, and I think that's going to translate to results sooner rather than later for the Gators. All right, so we were wrong on Florida this year. I like the future. I like the stock going forward, and excited to see what they are here in 2026. Y'all, we were on the money when it came to Arch Manning. Now, there were some extremes on either side of this that I don't think we accounted for. Like, I did not think he'd go out there and look as bad as he did against Ohio State. It was jarring. It was oh boy, here we go. How's it going to look? But what we said in the preseason, well, everyone's saying Arch is a top whatever player in college football. He's going to win the Heisman. He's going to do this. I don't think all that was clickbait. I think some of that was based in the idea of, well, hey, we like what we saw in small sample sizes. He'll build on that. He'll be better. We said, hey, give it a second. This stuff is hard. This is really, really hard to play quarterback in the SEC with the schedule that Texas has, where, by the way, your first ever start is against the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, rather, coming off a championship at their place. That's really hard. So our take was, hey, we think he's going to be good early on, be serviceable early on. It was bad. We think he's going to be really good towards the end of the year, borderline great. And that was exactly what he was. Now, credit Arch Manning, too. I don't think anybody really ever questioned what he was physically, even when he struggled. I don't think there was really a ton of questions of, can he make the throws? Because the throws he was missing, it was like he's bouncing a curl in the dirt. And it's like, Arch, I think you can make that throw, otherwise you wouldn't be at Texas here, brother. I don't think that's the issue. It was all upstairs. So to be able to get yourself off the ropes mentally tells me a lot about how Arch Manning's wired mentally. Tells me a lot about the camp he has around him to get him back right in that spot for Texas here. And to get him back right to playing at the level he was. Like, Arch Manning finished the season now top 5 in the SEC in touchdowns as a quarterback. Okay, so he was doing his thing towards the end of the year. So if you're giving me that next year with a Cam Coleman, with Sark back in his bag, with hungry Texas on a mission, okay now. I'm all the way here for that. You now have, I think, for Arch Manning, the accessories to go with his experience. Because say what you want about how he finished the year on a heater, because he did, it was still not 100% across the board when it came to catching the football. Like, he still needed some more help. And the personnel was one thing. Like, Ryan Lingo came on, obviously. Parker Livingston was great, and that he'll be on the other side of Red River. But there was still a couple of cases of the dropsies there that were persisting for Texas that maybe doesn't change their record, but it probably makes Arch's stats look a little bit better and would even make them a little bit better by the numbers offensively. So I think we were on the money with Arch Manning, man. We weren't on the money with everything, but in terms of the overall finish to his season and how he progressed, it was about what we thought. Now for year 2, it's like, okay, go put it all together. Now I think everything is fair for what you said about him last year going into this year. Now you can talk about Heisman. Now you talk about number 1 overall draft pick. And if you talk about it that way, you actually have some basis to stand on. Before it was like 2 starts, last name is cool, like the physical tools. Great. If you're right, great. You caught lightning in a bottle and called your shot And that's awesome. But it wasn't a take that you could point to a million things on tape. Shout out Aaron Murray, too, friend of the show. He was saying this. He's like, show me on tape why you think Arch is elite. The tape is limited to begin with, but I don't think there was anything to point to in that sense. So Arch Manning, we're right on him. Next year, though, here we freaking go. Who's to say next year we're not sitting here in a hotel room in Las Vegas when the national title game is played next season, January 28th, the morning of, saying, hey, Texas Longhorns found a way to get it done with an experienced quarterback in Arch Manning leading the charge. I digress. We were right in Arch Manning, though. Y'all, I'll be short on these last two when it comes to being right and wrong because they're just a little bit more concise in the reasoning here. We were wrong on Clemson, and we were a part of an entire just party when it came to being wrong on Clemson. We picked Clemson to win the ACC, rather. We picked Clemson to play in the semifinals of the college football playoff, and Clemson went 7-6. I'd like to take the time to apologize to absolutely nobody. There's no way to see this coming. Unless you just had an angle on Cade Klubnik, and none of us had. And if you did, cool, bro. More power to you. Ride that out. Wear that flag. Beat your chest. It's all well and good. Clemson should have been awesome this year, and they sucked relative to their expectations. All right? So, I'm not sorry. Ball up top, charge of the game. I learned nothing. If anything, I learned to maybe be a little bit more leery of what Clemson is right now and how Dabo Swinney needs to adapt a little bit when it comes to how he's getting more out of his roster. But I'm not sorry for anything. And if you pick Clemson to be somewhere of note in the postseason, you shouldn't either because they were number one in returning production in all of college football, a stat that we had previously put a lot of stock into. And they also, by the numbers now, were projected to have the most overall most first-round draft picks in this upcoming draft, which I don't know if that'll be the case anymore, but it wasn't like it was a personnel issue for Clemson. So wrong on Clemson. Wear that. No dispute about that. And would do it again in a heartbeat given the information I had in the preseason. Okay? Now, we were right on Oklahoma. Reason being, we never bought the bait. I say we were right on Oklahoma. We were right in the sense that we believed Oklahoma was going to be a team that was in the mix in November for the college football playoff. We were right in the sense that we took the over on their preseason win total of 7.5. We were right in the sense that we thought John Mateer would be a dog and Brent Venables was a good head coach. All those things were right on. We were still a game shy of what we thought Oklahoma would do this year, and then making the college football playoff, I was off on that. So if you want to split hairs there, it's completely up to you. We were just never under the impression that Brent Venables couldn't do it. And I beat this horse to death over last offseason, but I'll do it one more time. The context around Oklahoma was always a little bit fugazi. You look at Brent Venables and say, 6-7. Twice in his first 3 years as a head coach. He must not be a good head coach, huh? It's too bad. He's a great DC at Clemson. Oh, well, some guys, they just aren't head coaches. That wasn't Brent Venables ever. Because the first year he got to Oklahoma, they won 6 games. Why? Because his whole roster was hemorrhaged by the other coach, Lincoln Riley, going to USC. No doubt we had a hard time getting off the ground. We didn't have the personnel to run our defense. Yeah, it was an issue. Okay, so that's the first part of this. That first year, I think, was a wash in a lot of ways, them being 6-7. Then you go win 10 games, your second year in the Big 12. When you have a roster, you have a quarterback, okay, it's amazing how players and experience in the system leads to good things. But then, and this is something you could actually put on Brent Venables a little bit more if you want to when it came to their first year in the SEC, you didn't have the offensive line we needed to have it. And that you can say is on Brent Venables. Jackson Arnold was not who you thought he would be, and that's just the nature of the beast, but also you had an infirmary of issues at wide receiver in terms of guys staying healthy, so that's also an issue. Like the first year in the SEC was the first year in the SEC in terms of the rigor, but also he's had a lot of things not break your way. So it's bad for Brent Venables for sure. I'm not excusing 6-7, but that was a big reason why we're like, hang on, I know what the numbers are, I know what the records are, but I look at that quarterback in John Mateer, I look at that defense under Brent Venables that everyone feels good about now going into next year. I'm not so sure they're not going to still go find a way to wreck shop and be a problem for the rest of the SEC rather. Okay, no more Big 12 Oklahoma. So I said this when I talked about him in the top 10. Man, like don't let him make you forget what John Mateer was when he was healthy. Don't let him make you forget what people said about this schedule going into next season. Arguably toughest schedule in college football. Okay. Well, Oklahoma took that toughest schedule in college football and made the playoff with it. and should have won a home playoff game. Up 17-0 on Bama, still playing Marvin's Room in Norman, Oklahoma for that one. But we were right in Oklahoma because we always believed in Venables, always believed in Mateer, and in that sense, too, even should have had more belief, but I feel like we were pretty right on what Oklahoma was this past season. All right. Now, there was still some college football playoff news that arose over the course of this week. And also notice this, too. The higher-ups aren't slick, having these meetings behind closed doors while we're all watching the national title buildup, okay, under the cover of the biggest game of the season by nature of the stakes. Not slick. There is talk about expanding the college football playoff. The Big Ten wants to go to 24 teams. Come on, dude. Like, it's late night, it's early morning, however you want to slice it. Like, don't do this to us. Don't do this right now. Let's get to the facts here. The spark notes of the facts are the Big Ten wants to go to 24 teams for the college football playoff. The SEC is like, we like 16. And we're not really willing to budge with you, Big Ten. If we're not going to expand to 16, then we'll just sit at 12. And we're fine with that. Now, at the time of us recording this, that's the news. Maybe more news is breaking, but this is not really specific to the news. They're just the spark notes. The Big Ten is saying, hey, we can agree to 16, but we're going to get to 24 eventually, right? So we'll agree to 16 as long as you have us down in writing that we're going to go to 24 teams, SEC. The reason why the SEC and the Big Ten are having this conversation, and they're the only voices in the room with the conversation, is because they're holding all the cards when it comes to viewership and money. And whether that's right or wrong here, we're not really here to discuss, but that's just kind of the situation there in terms of who's holding what cards in this conversation. So bottom line, Big Ten wants 24. The SEC is like, we'll stay at 12 if we can't go to 16. Y'all, this is the worst thing for college football if you love college football. If you actually love this sport and not the idea of it being in the NFL in the future, or you kind of like parts of it want to tinker with it, if you just love college football for what it is and always have, this is the worst thing for the sport possible. Hear me loud and clear. We forget what the playoff is sometimes, dude. The playoff is a device to crown a national champion. JD, it's a TV product. Yeah, it is. We'll watch it. I'll watch it however many teams they go to. You got me. You got me. Walter Whitehands. But it's supposed to be used to crown a national champion. Okay? And there is not 24 teams at any given point in time throughout the history of college football that could truly compete for a national championship. It can't happen. And you're saying, well, JD, I want my national champion to be able to play anyone, anytime, any place. Yeah, me too. But playing a tournament doesn't define who your national champion is. It just defines who can get hot at the right time, who can win a tournament. The regular season still has got to matter. Like, look at these teams that finished 19 through 25 in the final playoff rankings. Just check this out. Virginia, 19. Good team. Played for an ACC title. Could have been in the playoff if they had beat 7-5 Duke, who finished 7-5, who missed the playoff. You think they deserve a shot at a national championship? And if they did, they could have found their way into the playoff by beating Duke and winning the ACC. I digress. Tulane, they made the playoff. We saw what happened. We got Houston at 9-3. Uninspiring, for me at least, when it comes to a national champion. Georgia Tech, 9-3. Iowa, 8-4. JMU made the playoff. We saw what happened. At number 25, you got North Texas. My argument isn't these aren't good teams. My argument is they can't win a national championship. And that's not me being elitist or gatekeeping. It's just what the records say over the course of the season. They have not earned the right to be in that top-tier group to compete for a national championship. So when you try to tell me about, oh, it's good for the fans, it's good for parity, I'm not saying those aren't true points in of themselves, but they're not valid to expand the college football playoff, y'all. They're not valid enough to change the mechanism of what we have to crown a national champion. 24 teams is absolutely egregious. And I go back to what I just said about if you love college football, you hate this. That's not me trying to put you in a bind and make you pick a side, but just like genuinely, what has made college football college football? The natural resource of the regular season. What we've always said on this show is college football, the regular season that it is Yosemite National Park. It's beautiful. It's got rivalries that matter to the nth degree. It's got incredible home atmospheres. It's got incredible November stakes, even with this 12-team playoff. I was worried about getting watering down. Did not happen. If you go to 24 teams, you are putting a roller coaster in the middle of Yosemite National Park. Well, JD, it'd be cool and make money. Okay. Doesn't that kind of ruin the point of what the natural resource, natural beauty of Yosemite National Park is? We're not really talking about Yosemite anymore. We're talking about a theme park. you're totally changing what's made the sport the sport. So don't come to me and say it would make money. Make money for who? Not money for you and I. Make money for some bigwigs sitting somewhere else with, their suit and tie on every single day. Probably haven't touched a tailgate in years. I'm not making money for the people that actually make the sport go, man. So don't give me it makes money, it'd be cool. It would be cool to watch on TV. It would totally disgrace, though, the natural beauty that we have in this sport. Make that very clear. So I do want to just say this before we finish up this little segment on this. What is everyone saying right now is the problem in college football? Got to fix the calendar, man. Calendar sucks, man. Got to fix the calendar. Can't have this portal. Can't have this National Signing Day stuff going on when it does and all these things. A 24-team playoff gets us further down the line of that calendar rabbit hole. You think we're solving problems? Playing more playoff games? Next year, the national title game is played on January 27th. How's that going to work? We're talking about turning spring practice into OTAs. You think playing a longer playoff helps the calendar issue? No. So we actually regress when it comes to finding solutions in college football by expanding the playoff, much less it just being a stupid idea in general. Make no mistake, there are people that don't care about college football that are running college football. And Josh Pate has been all over this, but the people that run this sport are purely in it for their pockets. So when the Big Ten says we want 24 teams, they say we can make more money. Why not? We don't care. And until we have someone that's actually looking out for college football itself, it's going to keep happening. Like, I don't like what the people that are suggesting 24 teams are saying, but at the same time, it's hard to blame them because it's their job to look out for the Big Ten. And it would make more money for the Big Ten and make more money in general probably for people in the world of college football. But it's a horrible idea if you love college football and are truly looking out for college football. All right. So that's that. All right, man. We're just part of the show now where it's I always say this on my social media whenever we have a time where we say thank you or thank the audience or whatever it is. I always say, hey, we don't want to get too sappy. And this is a part of the year now where once a year we will get a little bit sappy. Okay, it's been a fun year, dude. Like, truly, thank you to y'all. This has been the best year on the show when it comes to viewership, when it comes to interaction. Like, y'all have absolutely knocked it out of the park. So genuinely, thank you so much. I want to give our flowers out, though, man. Like, everyone else in the college football space has been crushing it. I can't help but look around tonight at the national title, press box down on the field, and everyone that's working the game. College football as a media space, I truly believe, is in a really good spot. Like the folks at On3 in general, from Andy Nari on 3, Goats in the Game, Crane and Cone just joined the On3 family, absolute dogs. Steve Wiltfong and Josh Newberg on the Rivals channel is absolutely just crushing it. Talked about Josh Pate a second ago. Freaking Trailblazer feels like a huge lane in the digital media space. Chris Lowe, Pete Nakos, Brett McMurphy, like just a bunch of just dogs in this space. And the reason why they're dogs, of course, they're hard workers and they make this whole thing go. But like they love college football. And I'm probably not even mentioning a bunch of other shows that I mean to and should be mentioning. Brooks Austin, Film Guy fan, was on the show this week. Like just people that care about college football that y'all are choosing to champion and give a platform to and spotlight. And I say y'all because anybody can get a paycheck and have a YouTube channel, whatever, but y'all as a digital media audience are driving all of this. So thank you so much for that. Now, he doesn't know I'm going to say this. I want to brag on Cato, man. Dude's a freaking workhorse. Like, we see comments every now and then about, like, man, y'all are still there late. Like, y'all, I leave after we shoot a video. Oftentimes, Cato is still in the bat cave, dude. Still editing, still cutting up. And the show and where it's at right now would not be where it's at without this dude grinding, getting on the mic, adding extra elements to the show. Like my guy's talking about, he had a few hours before his flight. He's chopping it up, just thinking about different ideas. Like this dude's obsessed with where we're at right now, and he's a huge reason why we are where we are. He would never say this for himself, but Cato, love you. You're the reason why we are where we're at, man. And man, freaking love you so much, dude. You made the show what it is, man. So big ups to Cato, man. MVP, and not a coincidence that the show's best season coincides with Cato making the show what it is, which is not a fallacy in any stretch. Man, we are so lucky to get to do this. So lucky. Like I can't help but on nights like this think a little bit about where we were at different points in time before doing this full time. Like I remember having to retire from playing college football. Thought I was going to graduate, transfer, walk on at Baylor. Was there for a quick second. I just remember finishing up being like, dude, what am I going to do? Thought I was going to keep playing football. Thought I was going to, have a little bit longer to do that. And I'll just stop like that. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was jobless for a minute. COVID hit and like you're in between stuff. You're kind of doing part-time jobs. Did local news for a second and figured out that wasn't for me. And I just want to just say this, like, if you're in that spot where like you want to work in college football or you want to work in media or whatever it is, and you don't know how to go about it or how to get into it, like we were in the same exact spot on this side, brother. But I would just say, just like keep freaking going, keep putting shots up, because there's always going to be people that tell you it's not worth your time or to be realistic or to stick to the status quo or do the easy thing. Don't listen to them. If you truly like are about this and believe in yourself and want to do something like this, go for it. Don't settle, go for it. Because the thing is, man, somebody has to do these jobs. And it might as well be you if you're passionate about it, if you love it, and you're willing to work hard at it and make it come to life, man. That's where we are right now in media. You can do a podcast, and eventually someone hires you to do it for your full-time job. And I tell you what, man, it is the sweetest thing. It is the sweetest thing. All right? So we just appreciate the heck out of y'all again for making this what it is. Extremely, extremely grateful, and not something we take for granted for a second. We love college football, so getting to do it for a job is still, I keep saying, it is incredible, and it is possible because of y'all. So as we move now into the part of the year where the games aren't played, we are not stopping. Content is not stopping. There's not going to be like this drop-off in us talking about this sport. We're not going away for a while. Like this thing is full speed ahead. Now, we will go to 2 shows a week, but we are not slowing down in terms of the other content. The other day where we would do a full Wednesday show, just peek behind the curtain here, we're still doing segments, just not putting them out in a podcast platform, all right? We're just kind of spreading the wealth, if you will, when it comes to the topics we're covering that don't fit into a show's format. So from all of us on this side of things, for Cato on the ones and twos, for myself, J.D. PicKell, what a special year. We appreciate y'all making it what it is. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, maybe full speed ahead. We will see y'all next time.